Now, President Erdoğan of Turkey has struck a deal with Vladimir Putin to have Russian and Turkish troops begin patrolling the Syrian border and buffer together. This also coming as President Trump says he plans to leave a small number of troops in Syria to defend oil fields. Joining us now is Phares, Fox News national security and foreign policy analyst. So, Waleed, we got Russians, Turks, Kurds, and U.S. troops all simultaneously along the same border. What could possibly go wrong, right?
Oh, everything in the Middle East could go wrong with all that mixture. But I think we should start being less worried about Syria. Guess why? We have withdrawn strategically from Syria. I mean, the body of our force, which was in the northeast, has left to Iraq, as we all know. There's a small contingent in the very south, in the Al-Tanf base, which eventually would go to Iraq. So what we're talking about now is what the Russians and Assad and the Kurds, the remaining of the Kurds and Turkey will be playing, what kind of game. I think the Kurds will be the loser here. Turkey will be a winner, and Russia the strategic winner at the end of the day.
Waleed, it's Carol Roth. You know, just a few days right on the border here in Mexico, there were drug cartels who went to war with the government. They used military-grade weapons. They shot a helicopter out of the sky to free the sons of El Chapo. This is happening right on our own border here in the U.S. Shouldn't we be more focused on that than what's happening with Turkey and Syria and the Kurds?
We can. I mean, academically speaking, we can shut down all of our operations around the world and just focus on that and other similar ones. But we can't, because we know that we are engaged in many places around the world. We can calibrate. We can. I mean, I'm sure that our commands, both military and intelligence, can focus on both at the same time. It was a surprise for our public, not our intelligence, what happened in Mexico. And I think we need to focus more on the capacity of these cartels south of our border. Absolutely.
Yeah, and what about ISIS, Waleed? It's Jonathan Hoenig. Thank you for being with us. We were told ISIS is defeated. That's great, but we saw video of ISIS prisoners running free from prisons that had been bombarded. We know that 30% of those detainees at Guantanamo, they returned to the battlefield. So I don't know, what percentage of those detainees who've been released from these prisons now, what percentage do you think are going to come back and try to harm the U.S.?
I hate to break bad news, but basically what was defeated was the Caliphate. A Caliphate meaning land, government infrastructures, standing armies. This is gone. What remains in Syria and part of Iraq is a flurry, a federation, if you want, of cells, and those who have been freed from detention centers will be recycled. Obviously, some will be captured by Syria and Russia, others by the Iraqis. But yes, there is a risk, a high risk now, that those who have been liberated or freed from these detention centers will be recycled either by local militias or if they cross to Iraq. That is a serious situation. I agree with you.
So, Waleed, what about the future state of relations between the United States and